Hard hate's gonna burn you up, kid.
Welcome to Last Remnants, the very first live stream on the Star Wars and Politics channel. Share the link out there, guys. New channel or newer channel, so a lot of people probably are not getting the notifications. But saw something out there online, wanted to start getting this channel going when it comes to live streams, and thought, well, why don't I go ahead and do it tonight? So share that link out there and let's talk about this just for a little while. I'm going to go off camera, but I wanted to greet you guys and thank you for being here. Make sure you're subscribed to the newer channel, Star Wars and Politics. Getting some traction for a smaller channel compared to my other one, United Spacers Alliance, USA. If you're unfamiliar with that channel, my name is Tim and I am USA. Thanks for being here again, guys. Please share the link out there. We want to get as many people in here on a Sunday night as possible. So let me go off camera, and then we're going to start talking about this topic that I want to talk about. You might have seen the thumbnail. You might have seen the title of the stream. It's going to be about EckhartsLadder tonight. Haven't really talked about that guy very much over the last several years. I know that years ago, Darth Melvin exposed him, which was amazing. But saw something out there, and I'm just so tired of that douchebaggery on display from the Canadian. As Mike Cassius in the chat, always showing up to the spacing. He's here tonight. And SWA is here. He actually is a Disney shill, and he's worse than that, as we'll find out tonight. Let me see if I can find my overlay here. There it is. Now let me share my screen on X. Let me move over to this format here. And there we go. So, number one, there are a series of posts out there on X tonight. But this one caught my eye. Reminder, and this is from that Cobalt account. I've seen that account out there. In fact, let's look at this account really quick. Yep, I am blocked by this person. Probably interacted with them sometime over the last 5 years, or they just came across my account and preemptively blocked me. Don't really remember. Quite frankly, don't really care. But it's one of those weirdo cartoon avatar accounts based around Star Wars. Reminder that the co-writer for this comic, Mark Guggenheim, signed an open letter denouncing the call for a boycott of Israeli film institutions over the genocide in Gaza. Mark Guggenheim is a Zionist. Keyword, buzzword, and he is complicit. If you want to read this comic, pirate it, is what they said. And then you have EckhartsLadder here quoting it. Me when I have another reason to hate Star Wars comics. So there it is. He's on the side of Palestine. That's air quotes because it's a fake country. It's a fake nation. Doesn't exist. So that tells you how much of a piece of shit already he is. It's genocide in Gaza when they're parachuting into Israel 2 years ago in October, almost exact, kidnapping people, killing people. But it's genocide, and a piece of shit like EckhartsLadder is on the side of that. In fact, I'm just reminded of this. I hadn't even thought of it. Friday night, or was it Saturday night? I don't even remember. I'm on a 3-day weekend here, and I'm living it up. Had quite a bit to drink, but got into it with Narrow Dark, a longtime weirdo anti-Semite, one of those people that just every single thing, all roads lead to Israel, right? One of those weirdos. And I'm not over here saying, hey, they're 100% justified in anything they've ever done. I'm not saying that. But what people like him are saying is everything wrong with the world leads back to that flag with the Star of David. That's all you ever see from people like him. So he had a meltdown the other night where he had reposted something about a supposed sexual assault of a Palestinian woman by some Israeli soldiers. And then we kind of got into it. And I'm like, hey, do you condemn? He said he condemns sexual assault across the board. Okay, well, do you condemn those that happened in October of 2023 by Hamas against Israeli civilians? And of course he wouldn't. I start getting called names and all that stuff. And then get this, he makes a post. No one likes it, whatever. Then he quotes himself, probably within the hour, trying to get even more attention to that, going after Gen X and boomers believing everything they see. You exactly described yourself there, pal. So Narrow Dark, totally exposed, melted down. So he and EckhartsLadder could go live and talk about the fake nation Palestine together. Maybe that'd be fun for them to do. But this one right here really isn't what initially caught my eye tonight. But as I was getting the post ready to talk about, I noticed this, and I'm like, man, what a piece of shit. And it's like a reason to hate Star Wars comics, as he says, Disney Star Wars comics in 2025, because that's all that's being made. It's because they're Disney Star Wars comics and they're fake Star Wars. And it really gets me that people will defend EckhartsLadder. Oh man, he's a cool guy and he's my friend and stuff like that. How could you ever be friends with someone who would defend the fake country and terrorist activity? Like EckhartsLadder supports terrorism. Just take that in, keep that in mind whenever you think about this EckhartsLadder guy. All right, so they're talking about this. All started when someone was talking about this novel coming out, Rey and Leia fixing the Skywalker lightsaber. And he says, dude, who cares? To Star Wars Holocron. Quotes himself. Maybe it will be good, but Legacy, by the way, ripping off the name of the comics, right? Ripping off the name of the comics that happen in the future, the far future of Star Wars continuity, of real Star Wars continuity with Cade Skywalker and the one Sith with Darth Krayt, who was Asherad Het turned into a Sith. Amazing storyline there where Luke Skywalker comes back as a Force ghost. Excellent stuff. So they're ripping off the name just like they've done with numerous other things. Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Jedi. Man, I used to have a meme that showed all this stuff, all the names they've ripped off. Shatterpoint. There's a stupid online game called Shatterpoint. Of course, the novel by Matthew Stover about Mace Windu. Oh, legacy is a common word. Well, they know it's been used, so come up with something else. Come up with something else. We know the start and end points for the characters. Nothing major or surprising can happen. So here's a pitfall that people fall into. I have to I have to be surprised by something, right? Like J.J. Abrams. Oh, we got to keep all these secrets and lie to the fans, just like he did with Star Trek Into Darkness. Benedict Cumberbatch does not play Khan. He lied to the public because people weren't stupid and they figured it out. They knew what the character was going to be. I was in the theater the weekend it came out. And I remember several people got up and walked out. And I was a little surprised by that. I don't know if they went in there just to confirm, hey, this is what's happening. Maybe they snuck in there from another theater after watching something else, but several couples or groups of friends got up and walked out as soon as Benedict Cumberbatch said, "My name is Khan." So, known liars. So, people get this fixation on I have to be surprised, I have to have shock value. What do you think the point of a prequel is? Like, we knew what was going to happen with Darth Vader, right? It doesn't make the arc in the prequels any less interesting. And everyone remember, please, that George Lucas is a Jew. Okay. George Lucas, creator of Star Wars, is a Jew. Everyone just remember that. Okay. In any event, bullet point number one, people like this, that's the low intelligence quotient of people like EckhartsLadder because they have to be surprised. They can't appreciate how you get there, right? The why. That's really what the nuts and bolts of a story are, is understanding the characters and their arc, not just, oh man, I was surprised by this twist ending. Bullet point number two, cannot have big implications because of future stories, Ray movie, etc. Well, that's been the case with all of the Disney continuity books and comics. Supposedly, they discarded the expanded universe because they wanted to start fresh and everything would count. There's a big theory out there that they did it because JJ wanted to do it. If you think about it, anytime JJ has come in to an existing universe, he's tried to do a reset. Star Trek 2009, oh, it's going to be the Kelvinverse. It's an alternate reality. So he could do whatever he wanted and not follow. He didn't want to be bound to what came before, probably because he's too lazy to do the research and also because he wanted to tell the story he wanted to tell without being constrained by the existing lore of the universe that someone brought him into. It's disrespectful. So he probably pushed them like, oh man, nothing that happens in these books matters, not even the ideas, because I want to make an entirely new story. So whatever happened in the movies, whatever happened in, oh yeah, the Clone Wars, right? TCW, it counts. But if you look hard enough, and I don't give a shit about TCW, but some stuff that happened in The Force Awakens more than likely contradicted TCW. I've never looked into it because, quite frankly, I don't give a shit about TCW. So that's been the case forever. They've changed all kinds of stuff from the Ahsoka novel, hell, even the Tarkin novel, the manuscript of which was written for pre Disney continuity. A lot of the stuff that happens in it really doesn't jive with Rogue One. So they don't give a shit about that. What's the difference? Third bullet point, thing that didn't need to be explained is explained, how they fixed the lightsaber. Well, again, not a story I want to hear, but here is the fallacy there. Sometimes that's what makes a good story. When characters are put into a situation where they have to work together and they have to interact, you could say that's a plot contrivance, and yeah, it probably is. But that's how you get characters together to start interacting and creating interesting moments and character dynamics. So again, it's Disney Star Wars. I don't give a shit. But saying that, oh, it's something that didn't need to be explained. Well, what is the story then, EckhartsLadder? What story should they have told? Fourth, Mad Libs plot. Wacky Mad Libs. You guys know those where you kind of fill in the blanks and sentences. There are many good canon novels. Number one, when he says this, he's talking about Disney continuity. So technically, he should have that C capitalized by like most people do because it is a proper noun for them, but it is not true canon. He should be saying there are many good Disney Star Wars novels, but the fill in the blanks novels featuring main characters have almost always been extremely limited and boring. Well, then categorically rejected if you have enough of a sample size. So Retney's Holocron YouTube replies, is this Eckhart's Ladder or Star Wars theory? I don't know what that means. I think Star Wars theory undeservedly because I think it's a badge of honor to have a reputation as someone who is anti-Disney Star Wars, and he's not. Star Wars theory has disliked a few things, or at least claimed to. So he lost a lot of followers due to that. He's gotten swarmed a few times for not towing the company line, but he's not this big anti-Disney Star Wars figure. So not really the own you think it is, Retney's Holocron YouTube. So Eckhart quote tweets that. I need people to understand something, lol. Grifting Star Wars is not a viable business model in 2025. No one cares enough to hate watch. I'm going to say I disagree because I think someone might have replied with this. Yeah, there it is right there. Tom, this Tom account about the Acolyte. Whenever that came out, a lot of people who claim to be anti Disney Star Wars grifted the hell out of that. Well, it's not 2025. You could say that. Well, when the next thing comes out, people are going to grift off of that. And I'm not going to hate watch it. I haven't hate watched anything since, I would say, Mandalorian season 2. Ever since then, I don't think I've seen more than 2 minutes of anything Disney Star Wars, whether it's Andor, Book of Boba Fett, anything. But to say it's not a viable business model, someone is watching some of this shit. I did a video on The Road a few days ago, and it's going to be more watched than 99% of the Star Wars videos I've made this year, positive or negative. And I, of all people, know how to play the game. Exactly. You're playing the game. Like, we're out here making videos, going live because we actually care about the topic. I'm not trying to grift off Star Wars. It's like, oh, it's 2025. I better stop making Star Wars videos because I can't grift off of it. I'm doing it because I love it. Every Tuesday at 2. Tuesday at 2 Central, lore videos. In fact, I need to get my ass to work editing the one for this Tuesday. It's recorded. Images have been gathered. The script has been written for weeks. I just need to do the actual editing, which shouldn't be too hard. But point is, I'm making it because hell, I might get 150 views trying to get back into the algorithm, or I might get 5,000 views, like my Epic Continues video from coming up in about a year. It got, I think, about 4,000 views. But then once I got back into making them about a month ago, the first one did 3 something. Then it was like, golly, 150. The one on the Death Star is approaching 700. So I'm trying to get back into that algorithm. But we're doing it because we love it, because we have something to say and we know the universe. We know the lore. We have the reference books. And we try to be entertaining. So that's why a lot of the channels based around real Star Wars do it. It's not because We're trying to play the game, as he says, or grift Star Wars. Some people out there are definitely trying to do that. Saying you really like Baby Dumbo. And a Ray movie is not the way, even though 2 years ago you said it could probably be a good movie. You know who I'm talking about there. You guys definitely know who I'm talking about there.
There's my money where my mouth is. If you don't like it, bounce.
If people are still having negative Star Wars takes, it's for the love of the game. And he made the point I was just making. And that's how it's been all along. Like, I didn't even, guys, I don't know if I've ever told this story, but I didn't even intend to make a Star Wars channel, to make any kind of channel. I didn't even intend to do it. I created my account in May of 2020, started supporting some channels, and then I started talking to some people in Discord voice chat, and they're like, "Man, you know the lore, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek or comic books. You got a good voice. Why don't you go ahead and make a channel?" Like, I don't know, I'll think about it. Hey, you're invited on this live stream. Like, really? Wow, okay, I'll go on. Met some people, and then before I knew it, I'm making my first introductory video, right? That's how I got into it. And I didn't get into it thinking I'm going to get 100,000 subs, because a lot of the quote unquote Fandom Menace channels at the time in 2020, some of them, a very select few, had cracked the 100,000 nut, right? But many had not. Many were 10K, and a lot of them peaked at 10 to 20K. And then they've just withered away, and a lot of them are gone or behind a paywall, and they have their core audience and really no one else. So I never had illusions about I'm going to get to 100K. I just wanted to make good content, and it took a while to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. Made the Canon documentary, which came out in, what was that, May of 2021. Had a couple of Dave Filoni videos that really took off and stuff like that. And live streaming with friends, and the spacing, which started in technically in November of 2020, but it really came into full swing on the 26th of December of 2020, when we started talking about Luke Skywalker, Jake Skywalker returning in Mandalorian Season 2. So here I am, with the main channel USA, 2,700 something subs. Kind of hit a wall. That's fine, because I don't just talk about Star Wars, but it is a niche subject that I'm talking about, or set of subjects, right? And quite frankly, I say stuff that probably pisses people off. It would be really easy to do what a lot of the channels were doing as far back as 2019, 2020, and just pushing the narrative, right? That the big channels are pushing. Oh, I'm going to get more subs. I'm going to maintain them just by pushing the narrative, instead of, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense here, and calling it out for what it is. That's not a popular move. And to name names, that's what I was doing. It's what Greg was doing. And to a lesser extent, it's what Raging Rhino was doing. And then later on, we brought in OG Star Wars. Hell, later in 2021, we started partnering with Deadwood Dale, because he became disillusioned with a lot of the stuff, and he eventually just quit because he got blackpilled, and he's like, there's no point in this because no one's going to listen. And in large part, he's probably correct. But again, I'm not just being a critic, right? I'm also having fun doing positive stuff with lore videos and stuff like that. So EckhartsLadder, for that part, he's exactly correct. But he seems surprised by it. That's the problem I have. If people are still having negative Star Wars takes, it's for the love of the game. It's a little bit condescending, in my opinion, the way he's saying that. If people like us don't keep pointing out what's fake about Disney Star Wars, then someone's going to accept it at some point. They're going to take it for what it is, and it'll become the new normal. In fact, it probably already has. If you look on X and you go to the Star Wars topic, all you see are cartoon avatar weirdos getting 500 likes, 1,000 likes. It could be some weird sexual thing. It could be some retarded cartoon that they put out there, like a drawing of Luke with like big anime eyes. Or that's where the audience has gone for stuff branded as Star Wars. And we found out today there's a romance novel, the first young adult romance novel. That's the audience that they're catering to now. So people like us that do hate on it, it's you could call it the love of the game, but it's because we feel like it's our duty, it's our mandate, the point of our channels as we created them years ago to do that. Yeah. A New Dawn was John Jackson Miller, right? The traitor. He had to have known months and months before 42514 that they were going to discard the EU. He had to have known because he wrote that book as the first new canon novel based around rebels. So anyway, EckhartsLadder, leftist, quote unquote, Palestine supporter, shit take propagator, and his stupid like avatar of the corgi, it should have like a mini fedora on instead of the imperial officer's cap, because it's one of those just complete douchebag dogs that has shit takes, thinks they're smarter than everyone else. And I just, again, I don't see how anyone could be friends with this guy that's a decent person given all of his takes. Same goes for people like Griff Trooper. Just completely disingenuous. They don't know the franchise, yet they continue to make content around it. It's like, shut your channel down. You don't know what you're talking about. And you're making your low IQ audience worse because they're listening to it. Oh, ha ha ha. I had the First Order Stormtrooper with a monocle avatar because it was a joke. No, you didn't. You had it because you had it. A lot of the people liked The Force Awakens. OG Star Wars is in the house. King Chris, yeah, parrot note taking. Yeah, and I put a short out today, and that's my whole point. Like, when you speak the truth, you piss people off, and that short probably pissed some people off, but I got subs from that short because I think a lot of what I said rings true. It's like, again, when I created my channel in 2020, we're in the Discord chat, and they're like, hey, you should create a channel for the reasons I stated earlier. I didn't do it because, oh man, I see, Ryan, and I see Jeremy, and I see whoever else out there, Raging Rhino with the channel. I got to get a channel too. Then I'm going to make friends with them, right? And get to a certain level and then just kind of like drift away. I didn't do anything like that. I was encouraged to make the channel, but you see people out there that are doing that. If you're going to support a channel, do it because you think the channel is talented and you think they're doing good work and they know what they're talking about, they know the subject matter, that's why you should do it. Ekley Thomason's in the house, and guys, make sure you're subbed to this new word channel. It started out as a spacing. I'm like, no, I'm going to completely change it. It's Star Wars and politics. Some of the videos will be based around real world politics that douchebags are trying to say applies to Star Wars when it really doesn't. And hell, sometimes it may be legitimate comparisons to real life politics from Star Wars that we've seen George and other creators in the Star Wars space talk about, not just because we think that, oh, well, this is George Bush or whatever. Or hey, look, the Gormans are Palestine. Like I made that video a couple of weeks ago. Didn't go as far as I wanted view wise, but enjoyed making the video, and more of those will come out. Plus, we'll continue to use this as the shit talking channel, right? Calling out people like Yavin based broadcasts, other hypocrites, and fence riders. It'll be fun. Open airlock policy. Yeah, I wish I still had that clip. It's somewhere. Yeah, Mesa Windu. They should have a stream like Mesa Windu and EckhartsLadder, the pro air quote Palestine duo. The Dumbnamic duo is what they should do. 10,000% says King Chris. I gotta find that clip now. You guys are making me want to find it. I don't remember what it was named though. Back then, I think I put clips in this folder. Let's see. Did I name it Shout Out? No. Let's see. How long is this one? 45 seconds. It's got to be this one. And I'm only playing it, Mike, because you reminded me of it. We kind of retired it when I changed the channel name. All right, here we go. I got to take a couple of swigs of beer here because, again, it is a 3-day weekend for me.
Open airlock policy. Another one of my guys who's awesome, who always says what exactly he believes when it comes to Star Wars, regardless of what anybody else thinks, and defends his opinions vehemently. Open airlock policy. Tim.
Open airlock policy!
Well, the top ones would be Raging Rhino, Open Airlock Policy, Allura, OG Star Wars. As YouTuber, Open Airlock Policy points out, and shout out to Open Airlock Policy.
Open Airlock Policy points out, oh yeah, good YouTuber. Open Airlock Policy. Good guy, man. Good, knows his stuff.
In the book, as reported by YouTuber Open Airlock Policy, Lucas described the sequel trilogy storylines as terrible.
Go check out Open Airlock Policy, one of based Star Wars channel.
Man, I think that Melvin's is my favorite shout out there. Probably Melvin's. The first video I saw from you was Dave Filoni is not there. Yeah, that one, it's really weird because it came out in February of 2021. It really wasn't that hard to make. I must have made it in like a week because I'd made another video in early February 2021, and then that one came out later on in the month. Well, over the years, it got up to like 10,000 views, and then it just fell off. Because I would look, and every week it would get, another 20, another 50, another 100. Got up to 10,000 views. So I made a follow-up on it, I don't know, about a year and a half ago, and it did pretty decent. Maybe 1,000 views. But that one fell off. The Canon documentary kind of fell off. It hit maybe 4,000 views. It's really weird how your evergreen videos just stop. Like, did something happen with them, right? Why were they getting views and suddenly they didn't? Did we milk anyone interested enough in watching those videos. I don't really know. But thanks. I'm glad you remembered that. And that was before I had really gotten decent at editing and stuff like that. So it's informative though. It exposed a lot of stuff that people weren't thinking about when it came to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. People should be supporting the channel because they enjoy the content and they want to help the channel grow, not because they're chasing clout. That's exactly, what I was saying in my short, because, and it's fine. You can do both. Yeah, try to chase the clout, but be genuine in your support and be steadfast in it. Be consistent in it. Don't just ghost someone, right? It almost makes you wonder, are there whisper networks where someone says, hey, I see you supporting that guy, but I know how you can go further, but I'm not going to show you, or maybe not in those words, but if you keep supporting that guy, my route isn't going to be as effective. So the people stop supporting channel number one. I think that kind of thing happens a lot too. And it's sad. Like, all this should happen on the merit of the information presented in videos and whether or not they're entertaining. Because if you look at, let's say, Darth Melvin's rebuttal to all the drama, you guys know what I'm talking about. Not only did it have the information, but it was actually funny, like laugh out loud funny in several parts, like Inspector Jacob and stuff like that. It was just, you're literally laughing out loud at that stuff. Like Cheap Speed only supporting, well, that's a great example. Yeah, exactly. That's so transparent. And look, none of us like this explains for many, many, many reasons, right? But they're not stupid people, and they could see right through that shit. Everyone can see through that stupid son of a bitch. And he's a good example of lazy ass content. Oh yeah, let's come up with a podcast. Or me and my dream girl and some other loser talk about shit for however many hours. That's so easy to just hit record and say uninteresting stuff. Has he ever put out a lore video? Like a documentary like I did? 44 minutes long, but it took me months to research, to research, to compile images, video clips, edit them. Remember Raging Rhino's videos way back in the day where he would blow holes in like some of the storyline logic or lack thereof, like in The Force Awakens and in Last Jedi? Like, you don't see that kind of content from a lazy son of a bitch like J.I. Acup. You just don't. And I'd put out a few videos where, quite frankly, after a couple of days, I'm embarrassed of them because I didn't think they were up to my standards, and I hit them like, nope, it's not where it needs to be. I'm taking it down. Maybe I'll redo it later. Not very many, maybe 3 over the last 5 years. But some people just don't have standards. The only reason they hide stuff is because they're getting dunked on for it, right? So that's a great example. I'm glad you brought that dumb son of a bitch up, because extremely lazy content. It's okay to have fun and, make some lazy stuff, especially on live streams, just kind of have like a loose, fun time. But when it comes to videos, I try to be informative and or entertaining, right? You've always got to be informative. You got to present truth, not just make a video to make a video. But a lot of people do that, and that's kind of what EckhartsLadder is getting at. Grifting Star Wars is not a viable business model in 2025. But I think he misunderstands the point. I'm not looking to get like, oh, theory numbers or whatever. It's like, hey, if I have 50 to 100, which is about right, maybe 150 max unique viewers every month. That's pretty decent. Let's get that up to 500. If I have 500 people in the world, because again, Star Wars science fiction is already niche, but if you have 500 or so unique viewers coming to your channel to listen to what you have to say about a topic, and not only are you paying for your expenses, but maybe pocketing a little bit more money, enough to have a nice dinner every week, buy some alcohol to go along with your stream, then you're doing pretty damn good. So he misunderstands what I think the goals are of a lot of us who create content for YouTube and Rumble and everything else. Dan Blackroyd's in the house, and he says, Tim has many Spice Girls lore videos on the cutting room floor. Just can't capture the true glory of the foursome on screen. Yeah, I can't find high-res photos of Baby Spice. That's the biggest problem. New channel idea, Spice World. SWA says, Melvin, you and the rest of the gatekeepers opened my eyes. My nostalgia was trying to take over, despite the fact that I knew you guys were authentic. Not othetic, authentic. Why did you rebrand? Well, I think it was more generic, right? Instead of having a Babylon 5 reference, it's like, hey, we can use the whole USA thing, like, I support the USA. Ha ha ha, that's kind of funny. I just think it made more sense. Really wasn't a rebrand, it was just a different name. Nothing changed. The logo barely changed. I just made the bottom part of the airlock like a U, right? And changed the two letters. But nothing changed about what we did, about the content, all that stuff. We didn't say, we're done with Star Wars, guys. We didn't do anything like that. It was just a name change and a slight logo change. So anyway, guys, coming up on 45 minutes here, just wanted to go over that EckhartsLadder stuff. A guy that, again, Melvin did expose him, what was it, golly, like 4 years ago? It's maybe 5 years ago. It's been a while, and did a good job of it. But we don't talk about this guy nearly enough, and I don't see how anyone who's decent can consider him a friend. Oh, we get that reference. We get that reference, Blake. We know exactly what you're talking about there. And the Beatles are going to be dropping a lawsuit soon as well, right? The two surviving ones, Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney, they're going to sue the Rippaverse very soon in a baseless lawsuit. Yeah, you're right. You're right there, Mike. But yeah, successful test here. We're able to stream on Star Wars and politics. Just wanted to get that off my chest. So we'll use this channel anonymously, randomly, to go live and talk about different stuff. I'm not going to have a set schedule or anything like that, but it will be Last Remnants. That'll be the name of my streams whenever I go live on Star Wars and politics. Make sure you're sharing the link out there. Let's try to get to 500 so we're partially monetized. I'm so happy that we got almost to 125 pretty quick. So, and I've had fun making the content on here. Quite frankly, probably as much as the main channel. So, hey, we'll see you guys on the spacing. There's already some interesting topics that are coming up. We're going to talk about some Star Trek and some other stuff. So Thursday night, approximately 10 o'clock central in the United States. Thanks for being here, guys. We will see you later. Have a great week.